Okay. Hi, everyone. Sorry about this. I was trying to do something with Zoom, so if anyone wanted to join in, they could, but I it was very weird and I didn't like it. So I don't know if you actually can add people to YouTube live. I don't think so, but hello, Karen. So nice to see you. I ran into a small issue. Okay, closing out of that. Yeah, I'm just going to get rid of that. Okay, so like I said, I was trying to do something where I could see if anyone else wanted to join in other than just talk in the chat, but my plan seemed to have failed. So, oh, you did, Karen? Oh, I'm sorry. I just I so would have accepted you. There was a lag for some reason and it was like freaking me out and I couldn't figure out what could be heard or what couldn't be. So I'm gonna have to play with that and hopefully we can do another one. But in the meantime, wanted to see if we could talk about some supernatural and the finale. And I know there's like this whole difference of opinions between what people liked and what didn't. As you can see, as you saw in my reaction, I was very indifferent. I Now that I've had time to process, I'm not really I'm still not really the biggest fan of the finale. I feel like it could have been done differently. A you know, well, there were parts that I did like, there were parts that I didn't like, and I just to me, it wasn't a 15-year series ender. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I know there are a lot of people who believe that like it's not just the whole like Cass part that is getting me. It's just the whole like the way Dean died. I don't know. It didn't seem right for the character. I understand it was like one of those things where it's something that could happen, to just about anyone. And that's kind of what it I think that's what they were trying to make it seem like, is that it was just like a random thing that happened and, it nothing special about it, but I still I'm still not happy with his death. I don't know. Um and so I'd love to hear um what others thought so far, now that it's been what, 4 days? 5? No, 4 days, right? Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Yeah, 4 days. I don't know what day it is anymore. Uh, sorry, doing something. And deep down, there are so many things I would have done different, or at least have better writing, give us more of a bigger picture and wider emotion. It really was only Dean and Sam. And I get, that at the core of things, that's what the show, started out as, so that's how it's going to end. But at the same time, like the show created this whole family beyond Sam and Dean, and just to end it with Sam and Dean is kind of like a slap in the face to like a lot of those people that they created this family in. And I don't know. Sorry, just doing a quick thing. Mhm. Exactly. It's like he hasn't seen Bobby in so long. Not to mention that he thought Bobby was stuck in angel jail, and now here we are, and all of a sudden Bobby's out, and he just sits down and has a beer with him. I mean, I loved getting to see Bobby, and I was really nice. You know, I really loved that it was Bobby that greeted him, and you know, when he went to heaven. But at the same time, I'm like going, um, okay, so this is all we're getting, and then Bobby's explaining everything to them. It's like, okay. I, from what I understand, I think I think I mentioned it in my last live, is that Samantha Smith was supposed to be there. So I can understand if, he was supposed to reunite with his mom and dad, but, John and Mary, but COVID stopped that. But now it's like you're hearing that all these other characters were supposed to show up. Like, what other characters were supposed to show up? Oh my God. Yes. I was just thinking about that. Yes. No one was at his funeral. So I'm like, did Sam even tell anyone that Dean died? Or are we just supposed to believe, are we just led to believe that no one showed up? But it's like, oh, most definitely. Donna and Jody would have shown up. It's like, I'm pretty sure all the wayward girls would show up too. I mean, oh, I couldn't remember her name for a second, but I can understand Claire not showing up because Catherine's been very busy as of late. So her not being around, I can understand a little bit more because, scheduling wise, she's got a lot of projects. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, all these people would show up. Donna, Jody, the Wayward Girls. I'm sure Charlie, you know, AU Charlie, AU Bobby, they'd all show up too. Garth and his family, I'm sure they'd show up too. Like, I know. Actually, I saw the tweets from Samantha, who plays Ellen. She spilled a little tea that she was never asked to come back. Her and Chad were never asked to come back at all. I was like, wow. Well, there you know that they were two people who were never coming back. She is. She's pretty awesome, and I loved getting to see those tweets. I was like, "Ooh, snap!" So that made me wonder. It's like, who were all these people that were supposed to come back but didn't? Because if it wasn't Ellen or Ash or Joe, who were they going to bring back besides John and Mary? It's like the only people they mentioned were Rufus, John, and Mary. They didn't even mention like Ellen, Joe, Ash, Charlie. Who else has died? Oh my god, so many people have died that I can't even think. They are. And I think wanna say they're still, like, not really under contract, but I think that since the series finale just ended, they're still told to keep hush hush about the things. Oh, did he? I kinda find it hard to believe some of the things he said now. He makes me question a lot of things, but I would have loved to have seen our Charlie again. I mean, after all, she was in 2 episodes before that, so I'm sure Felicity Day would have come back. Oh my god, yes. I love that they got the dog. That was, like, such a great moment in the episode is when the dog jumped on Dean's bed. Oh my god, I was like, "Oh my god, they got the dog!" That was so great. So much happiness, yes. And then the dog's um, following Sam around after Dean's dead. I was crushed. I was like, "No, we can't do this." Like, 'cause, dogs know when something's up, so I love that they got the dog. Because I mean, when they when they found the dog, clearly it didn't belong to anyone because there was no one else around, but when, Jack brought everyone back, I figured that the dog would just go back to his owner, but I love that they brought in the dog. Part of me wonders if it was, like, one of Jensen's or Jared's actual dogs. Yes, I have seen the debate about well, I haven't seen the debate an actual debate about it, but I have seen people talking about what was on Dean's desk, and I could never figure it out. It's not I was kinda because I know Jared had dogs. Not Jared. I know Jensen had dogs with him because one of the live streams he did, he mentioned that there was a dog walker at the door, but yeah, so I've only seen that it looked like it was a job application, but I'm not 100% sure as to what that was because I couldn't see it and I never looked back at it. So, what do you think it was? Very fidgety with my hair. I apologize. But yeah, that's what I looked like it was. You can only really see the minimum requirement, and that's usually on a job application. So, kind of seems like uh, Dean was looking for a job, which makes his death even more tragic to know that he was trying to get a real job, and yet here he goes and gets killed. Like, I understand that makes it a little more excuse me, tragic. But like, why'd you have to put that little tidbit in there? Like, why'd you actually have to go and be like, oh, He's trying to have a normal life. Let's just kill him off right in the prime. It was an old folder and bound at the top, which is weird for an application though. Maybe it was an old application that he finally decided to fill out. But I also can I just say that I also love how much people are like, "Oh, Dean's getting Dean gets killed by a nail." It's like it wasn't a nail. It was a freaking piece of rebar. But no, let's just call it a nail because that's what we're gonna. And that's like so many people are doing like memes and stuff about the fact that he gets killed by a nail. I'm like, no, it wasn't a nail. It was a piece of rebar. And when I saw it in the episode, I was like, someone's gonna get hit with this rebar. I- I'm like, but I never expected that Dean would actually like be killed by the rebar. It really was huge. And yeah, see, I'd like to hear what Jensen has to say about that. It's because there was no Reapers around. Jensen? Yeah. I I gotta give it credit to the boys for, being so good about the series finale, even though I'm sure they're seeing um a lot of like people hating on it and being like, this is terrible, and they're over here trying to make the best of it to try and help the fans kind of understand why it went the way they did, or why it went the way it did. And I just gotta hand it to them that they're trying. And yeah, and as we know, Johnson did do press saying he was not a fan of the ending. I, I Part of me still thinks that he's not fully okay with it. I think that it came down to a process that um he listened to people and they kind of like told him about it. But hey, Bridget. Uh so yeah, they told him about it, and I think from what I've read is that he kind of got a sense, but I still don't think deep down he was like really okay with it. But also from um but also from what Misha said and now what Jensen's saying, I'm like so confused because Misha's like saying how there was a completely different ending and now this ending. So I'm like, I want to know what the true ending was that was supposed to be filmed back in like April. And yeah, which I find IBM interesting considering the fact that the ratings for that night were were the highest they've been in 2 years. So I'm very confused about the rating system, but yes. And I watched your reaction to Bridget. I was trying to only pay attention to what you were saying, so I didn't rewatch the episode because I knew I had to do this, and I was like, I don't want to cry, but ugh, this episode, I I have so many things against it. Yes, I saw that. Want to send a virtual hugs to everyone because Cass deserved better than what he got. Oh, is it? Interesting. Like I said, never knew how like the ratings work. I've always seen them, but I've never, but I saw that said something about how the series finale was just as bad as Bugs. Hate that one. Oh, Bugs is actually better than the series. Oh my god, that's too funny. Especially since that's like everyone's worst favorite or worst episode. I like that, but like, yeah, I figured we weren't gonna get that. But I figured we'd at least get to see Cass or maybe hear Cass. You know, just like a hello. That would have been nice. Yes, one can dream. One can dream. It's like the yes. I completely agree, Bridget. There are too many plot holes. Yeah. I mean, after Sam showed up, you could have just heard like a Cass's voice. You and then you see and they turn and he's there. I think the worst part is that this season was supposed to like fill in so many plot holes, but it really didn't. Yeah, like is the empty still asleep? They really did. Uh, but I do have to say one thing that um, I know some people were upset by like different actors who could come on, and I can understand that. But my thing is that I feel like some of those actors who were guest starring on the show were based in Canada or Vancouver, so that's why they could be guest stars versus bringing in people so they'd have to quarantine. But I could be wrong. That's my assumption when it comes to the guest stars, with the exception of Bobby. So that's why they, had so many and not like the regular cast. But still, you could have had Donna. Because Brianna still lives in Canada, no? Because you could have had her. Yeah, could have had. I forgot about Alex and Catherine. Yeah, they could have all shown up. Yeah, we could have had Donna at Dean's funeral, but no, have to make it all about the boys. I know. That's what I figured they'd do in the episode before this. I figured they'd kind of like, not really green screen, but I figured they'd kind of like show like old clips of the different people when Jack brought everyone back. I figured we'd see like clips of like Donna and Jody and the girls, Bobby and Charlie, but no, we got some montage instead. Exactly. Why wouldn't Jack be there? But they wrote it off as he left heaven. He's all hands off now. Yeah. And the worst part is that Alex had quarantine already, so why not bring him back? So I mean, like, Alex had to quarantine for the episode before that, so why didn't they just keep him for the finale? So again, because they wanted to make the finale all about the boys. But I mean, like, I think it would have been different if the show ended at 30%. The I think it would have been different if the show like ended after like 7 or 8 seasons. There might have been like, okay, I can understand, it being a little bit more focused on the boys because they hadn't gone as long as they had. They didn't have this big extended family like they currently do, or at least in my sense. But now it's like it's gone 15 years. They have this entire extended family from, from the early seasons to later seasons to now. But like, no, let's forget all that and just go straight back to the pilot when it was just the boys. Yeah. It's like they really did like throw out a lot of character development, and it was terrible because you can't have a slogan of family don't end with blood and then be like, oh yeah, we forget all about these people, but we'll remember Bobby because Bobby was like a father to us. So like, maybe Jensen and Misha can do that. They can film that and then put it on online for fans. Honestly, I think it would have been better if they just kind of ended with the last episode. In my opinion, it made for a little bit better finale than the one we saw. Yes, Jensen's production company needs to get the rights to Supernatural so he can create a new Supernatural series. So, yeah, I know. I know, Bridget. Yeah, they only mentioned Rufus and their parents. And I think I mentioned this before you entered the chat, is that, they didn't mention um, Ellen, Ash, Joe, Charlie, or someone else at all. It's like you don't hear from them, you don't see them. Like all these people who are dead, who are supposed to be friends, and exactly. Or they could have put in like voiceovers. Like you could have heard Ash or Joe or Ellen in the Roadhouse because you have the Roadhouse there. But no, it's just Dean walking to his car. Like you don't even throw out like a voiceover for it's like it would have been fun. Really? I didn't see Jared's panel. I just saw like recaps of it. But that that's an interesting fact. But Sully's not dead, is he? I didn't think Sully was still dead. Or I didn't think Sully was dead. I thought he and it's quite interesting that he didn't want to see John. I mean, they made up. Kind of. True. True. I mean, he is a imaginary friend, so you never know what Sully can do. But so there was something that I noticed. Too much trauma for fans to begin. Oh, but 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 it's Jeffrey Dean Morgan. How can you not love Jeffrey Dean Morgan? Okay, we can love Jeffrey Dean Morgan and not like John. But at least he got to be reunited with Mary. But yeah, so there was something that I noticed um, before I was putting this together is that people have been doing like the foreshadowing. Um, or I've seen like things of the foreshadowing. Like one of the things that I mentioned in my reaction video was how Dean said that he would die at the barrel of a gun. So I was looking up the episodes, and the episode, one of the foreshadowings is Dean talking about how he wants Sam to have a happy life, get married, have kids, have grandkids, die old. And lo and behold, it was written by Andrew Dapp. And I was like, okay, so this makes sense that this is how, one, Dean is dying, and two, why Sam is getting a happy life and, getting married, having kids, growing old. I was like, okay, this totally makes sense now. But I like the other version better, where he said that he would die at the edge of a blade or a barrel of a gun. And I think that would have been better for him to die. But that's just me. I know. I'm weird. I don't want him to die at all, but if he was to die, because that makes more sense than the stupid rebar. And then I have another strange question. Not No, I am not a fan of the finale. There are parts that I like, but for the most part, I did not like the finale. It really was just an unlucky thing. Who is Bobo, Bridget? Okay, why I didn't enjoy it? Because I was not a fan of how Dean died. Not a fan of that. I was not a fan of the fact that there was no Cass. It was just simply a throwaway line. The ending felt a little rushed to me, and it didn't actually feel like an ending. It didn't feel like a good ending for 15 years. I would like to believe that he was married to Elaine. That's what I chose to believe. I kept waiting for Sam to sign with the son, but never happened. That could have been one indication that it was Elaine, but that's just me. I choose to believe that he did marry Elaine. Yeah, people are literally producing entire episodes using live streams, and we couldn't even get a phone call from Cass and Elaine. Yes, that's right. The last time we saw Elaine was, or the last time we heard from Elaine was when Sam was texting her to go to stay where she was, and then she mysteriously vanished thanks to Chuck. So, who knows? And of course, the last time we hear from Cass is when Lucifer decides to use his voice to get access to the bunker. What a ridiculous thing. And such a slap in the face to Cass. And I was always confused as to why they chose to separate the season finale from the series finale. Yeah, that never made sense to me either. But I guess because they're so different. Like, because, I mean, the season finale was really kind of like a season finale, with the exception of the cliffhanger. Because, most season finales always end with a cliffhanger, so that way you have to come back for the next season to find out what happens. But that just didn't happen. But I think the season finale would have been so much better as a series finale, especially since they had the montage at the end. That was great. And then to just like throw it all away. Yeah, they just wrapped everything up so they could end it. Yeah, it didn't make sense as to why they needed one more episode. I think because they had to do 20 episodes, and they had planned out 20 episodes, and it's just like, why? You should have just ended it with 19. It's like that probably would have been better. It wrapped everything up. It was great. Sam and Dean were free, and if they ever wanted to do a reboot, they could, because Sam and Dean were free. They could do what they wanted. They could stay hunters. But um, mm, dude, yeah. Yes, I well, it wasn't excuse me. It wasn't predictable for me. Maybe for you and others it could have been, but for me, I was actually shocked by the twist. I thought it was great. I actually loved episode 19 more than I liked episode 20, for sure. Um, Good. Because the odd one, that is what happened. Dean was basically waiting for Sam to die. So he was just riding around in the Impala, just waiting for Sam to die so he could join him. And uh, I mean, it depends on the epilogue. I've never been able to say this word right. I apologize. Um, I've never been a fan. I've been a fan of certain ones because sometimes they do a good job, and sometimes they don't. But I mean, I think if the final episode was actually 2 hours long, maybe they could have done a little bit more. But who knows? Also, I'll have to get into that too. I was not a fan of the retrospect that they put together. Not at all. It had so many things wrong with it. So many things. Um, So I'm not up on the writers, so I, but I'm guessing since you're laughing, that means most people don't like the dab episodes. That's actually a good point. Why Chuck couldn't tell that he was an energy vacuum if he was omnipotent. That is a good point. But maybe since he didn't have his powers anymore, so he couldn't really sense it. My headphone just fell out. But who knows? That actually is a good question. But I thought he lost his powers as soon as he blew up in the empty. Because I thought he was, like back to being a human ish that was sucking energy when he came back. But then again, I also thought he was death. And people were like, I don't understand that. So my logic, I I don't know. Kim was not on long enough on the retrospect at all. She should have been on more. And you know who was completely ignored for the retrospect was Donna and the Wayward Girls, especially Donna. She was could be. I mean, after all, one of the teases at the beginning is that she was like, "I want to start crying." You never really saw that, but yeah, it's like there were so many people missing from the retrospect. It's like Charlie, the Wayward Girls, Donna, and who else? I lost my train of thought. Sorry, but it's like they really kind of like kept it to simple things. I just I mean you can't fit. Actually, technically, you can. I mean, ER did it, so. Oh God, was it? It was so glossed over. It's like they started with angels and then slowly moved to Cass and then went away. It's like the only thing that people could really talk about was Cass's, coming into the barn and his um first entrance. Oh my God, I'm having difficulty with words tonight. I apologize. But yeah, so that's like the one big thing they talked about was his entrance. And then I was just like, okay, well, he's like a third brother to the boys, but yeah, that didn't really make any sense come the last couple of episodes because he's just saying you can write your own ending like me. It's just that I just I was just so disappointed in the retrospect for sure. They it's like they could have done so much with it, but they chose to stay strictly between, the boys and mostly the boys, yeah. We do better on YouTube. Yeah. It's like, I mean, it's 15 seasons. A lot of things happened in 15 seasons, and they glossed over so much of it. Honestly, at this point, there should be a documentary, like an hour and a half documentary of the impact, the things that, you know, Supernatural did, the different stars on the show, you know, it's like, oh, no, they didn't really do a good job either. But I mean, like, I've seen ones for Law and Order that's been on a hell of a lot longer, and they've done some better ones. It's just, yes, I am down for that, Bridget. Let's do it. Like, um, unfortunately, the cons might be a while with the whole stupid COVID thing. I will admit that I do enjoy working from home, but I'm so ready for COVID to be gone. Well, I know it will never actually be really gone, but to, for us to get to a point where it's better and we can go out and actually interact with people again. And yeah, I earliest I think will be like fall of next year. That's just me. Like either late summer or early fall. That's what my thing is. Um, and yeah, Jared said an MP3. Yes, I did hear about that, but Jared did say that there was supposed to be a scene with all old friends. But the thing is a couple people have already stated that they weren't going to be part of that. So now I'm curious as to know who was supposed to be part of that. So that's my question: is who was supposed to be part of that? I know I'd love to go to a con. I was actually planning to go to the North Carolina one in that was supposed to happen in November because I love North Carolina, like one of my favorite places besides California. Uh, and then COVID happened, so that stopped. But now I'm between, do I spend the money on a convention? Because what I've seen when it comes to the online virtual conventions they've been doing, I'm kind of a little annoyed with their prices, but I also don't think I'll ever get to meet Jared and Jensen. Which is nice. That's the one good thing about like conventions is that they do offer refunds if they move them or if they or at least that one. I can't really say about no, the other one I knew did it too, but it's really nice that they do that. But for me, it's more is it worth the price of paying all that money to see them? I mean, I can't say I have met some of the supernatural guest stars or recurring characters, but yeah, see, Bridget, that's what I do for my One Tree Hill conventions is I go for fellow fans and sometimes for the actors that I haven't seen before, but mostly because I love interacting with other fans because you have common interests. Oh, I wouldn't give to meet Kim. I grew up watching her as Zach and Cody's mother. I'm sorry. Oh, wow. Few tears. Oh, my eyes just started to water. I don't know why. But plus, Kim seems like such a riot, especially now that she's not in in a Disney World. She seems like so much fun. Now, I need to see her on Riverdale just to randomly interact with Cole because I liked her idea of, walking into a diner, walking over to Dylan and Cole Sprouse, and then going, "Oh, brown boys," and then walking over to Sam and Dean. I loved her idea that, and I wanted to see that happen, but that never happened. I have this thing about enjoying seeing actors who have worked together before work together again. It's always so much fun. Like for this final season, I wanted Allison Sweeney to guest star in the worst way. I would have loved to see her and Jensen work together again. And in case you don't know who Allison Sweeney is, she played the first Sammy. She was she played Jensen's twin sister on Days of Our Lives. So, which she actually still plays that character on and off now, but that would have been fun to see the two of them. You would have had two Sammys on set. Oh, I know. I'm a little crazy. I admit it. But so going on to another subject, which I'm curious to know what you guys think. is there is now a new thing going around, at least on on TikTok that I've seen, is an interview that Dab did during San Diego Comic Con back in 2019, no, 18, because it was before the 14th season, where he makes some comment about not being a fan of Jensen. And like people are going crazy about it apparently. But like, did I feel like I'm missing so much behind the scenes tea by not knowing all this. Like, he's is that something that's like a known fact, or was that just like sarcasm on his part? Because it's like so many things that I'm seeing. It's like that TikTok's bringing up, and I'm like, is this real? Yeah, I couldn't tell. It's like I had to watch it again, and I was like, it sounds like it's supposed to be a joke, but it's not the best way to tell a joke. Mm. Uh, yeah, I don't think I've heard. I probably have heard, but I'm probably blocking out. I don't think I've heard about any of the jokes towards Misha, but yeah, that's one of the things about writers and being on set is they don't tend to see. But I feel like I don't know. I feel like he should be on set since he's the showrunner, but I could be wrong. Because I know like the one of one of the creators slash I think he's still the showrunner for Chicago Fire is on the set quite a bit. I, I might have to look up this chair thing at San Diego, but well, I guess I could see him calling Bob Singer boss. After all, Bob Singer has been there for quite some time, so I could see that. But I could also see that there might be some bad blood. I mean, after all, I think Jensen's not following Dab, and Dab's not following him. I mean, wouldn't be the first time that there is bad blood between writers and the actors. And hello from Brazil. Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that because I want to see that. That's ridiculous. Hmm. Um, yeah, I, I, I kind of got the sense that it was more about Mark, but more about the character of Crowley from Mark than it was about anything else. I mean, after all, they cut one of his best lines. You know, it was his very last scene too. Like, yes, Misha is awesome, and the show was lucky to have him. It definitely brought a new dynamic to the show. It's really helped, continue it going. And I think that's, for me, at least, I feel that if it if Misha hadn't joined the cast and stuck around, I don't think the show would have gone as long. And I probably may get people hating me for that comment, but yeah, I think I don't think I think yeah, I don't think the show would have gone 15 years if Cass, hadn't become such a big part of the show. Because I think that's what really kind of like sold it going forward is the dynamic between Cass, Sam, and Dean. I mean, because you can only have like two main characters for so long before it becomes repetitive and you can't really get much more story. You always have to add kind of people in through the fold, or at least that's my point of view. Plus, it's like it was something new to explore. You had him being an angel and like angel storylines coming together. Um, I can say I wasn't a big fan of season 6. The whole. Mm, I mean, I love the French mistake, but I'm not a fan of Cass trying to become God. I did not like that, but it added a new layer to things. Yeah, there's only so much melodrama one can take with two boys. But yeah, and I'm sure there are many others that are the same, Bridget, that started watching because of Bisha. Yeah, I like Soulless Sam. He was fun. He was really fun. I rather enjoyed him. Um, and they had Jack use the line. I don't. My brain doesn't remember this. So I definitely guess when I when I go through my rewatch, I'll have to pay attention to that. Yeah, and for the show not to basically acknowledge that and just simply go back to the boys was just like a slap in the face. Um, I know when I first started watching, I was like, when does Cass show up? I was like, that's not why I was watching, but I was like, um, I, yeah, that's not why I was watching, but I knew Cass was such a big character. So I was like, when does he actually show up in the show? Not to mention that, Misha has stated that Cass was only supposed to be in 3 episodes, and then he stuck around for 12 years. So, what does that tell you? Not to mention that they kept killing him and bringing him back. So, it tells you something that the fans like the character, and they kept bringing him back. So, all right. If you do find it, Karen, let me know. If not, I'll take a look for myself to see if I can find it. But ooh, excuse me. That he is, Bridget. That he is. I've also realized that he is in more things that I've watched than I actually noticed. Like I'm still floored that he was in ER. He's also in one of my favorite Charmed episodes. And in Ringer, oh, he was so good in Ringer. I I would love to have seen that show continue on. Ringer was so good. And that's another plot hole is that they just completely forgot about Sam's powers. Like, did they just mysteriously go away? Or, whatever happened to Sam's powers? They were such a big thing in the first 5 seasons, and suddenly they were gone. Oh, yes, because it was Siobhan and Bridget. Bridget was the better sister. 100%. Yeah. Anything else? Anything you guys want to talk about? I've said a lot. um, oh, I don't blame you, Bridget. Of course, throwaway line. Always a throwaway line. But I mean, he's still But he shouldn't have technically lost his powers in 5-1 because he was still able to get um Lucifer to possess him because he was still chugging all that demon blood at the end of season 5. But I don't know. That was a Kripke storyline, and once Kripke left, we steered far away from it and changed the dynamic of the show. But honestly, there's more plot holes. This show really does have more plot holes than one knows what to do with. I think the funniest thing is that people actually put together a couple of videos of the different plot holes, and then people asking, uh, yeah, people asking questions to Jensen and Jared about these specific plot holes. So that was fun. Those were fun to watch, and I would love to see more of those because so many plot holes. What is it? There's a writing duo on Tumblr that has committed to a series rewrite starting with season 6 so they can do a better. Aw, really? I'll have to search them out to see if I can see if they have anything written. I'd like to read that. Um, oh, I can't wait to hear your deconstructing season 15, Bridget. I would love to hear that. Okay, I will save this name and look it up. Yeah, I'm still doing my Supernatural rewatch, but part of me is like going to see this show in a different light now that I've seen the way it ends. I'm like, is this going to like change the way I look at everything now? I mean, I'm only on episode 6 of season 1, so we'll see what happens. I know that happened with Riverdale and when after Luke Perry died. So, and yeah, season 15 deconstruction is going to be a riot, and yeah, so many things they brought up and then abandoned. Yes, like for instance, the Antichrist. Like, why bring that up when you're never going to show it again? I think that is like one of the uh, yeah, that one was terrible. No, I think I might. Um, Even though he doesn't reciprocate Oh my god, can I not speak? I'm sorry. I still might watch it as Dean and Cass falling in love. Cass more so than than Dean, but I still may watch it as that once, the seasons kind of start. Because, I mean, the way Cass looks at Dean is not, it's not in a brotherly type of way. At least not in the last 5 seasons. It hasn't been. Um, no, he doesn't. He does not look at anyone else like that. Just ignore the last two. That's the trick. Sounds good. Um, and Jesse is still in Australia. Well, that's good. I still wish Jesse is a surfing champ now. Oh, oh, I would love to see that. I'm hoping that Jack let Kevin into heaven. I mean, after all, Dean's in heaven, so I'm assuming that Kevin is in heaven. But yeah, that's another question we will never get answered. But absolutely, and canon is that Jack let the ghost into heaven that should be there. Yeah. There was a ton of Isaacs between Cass and Dean. You can see it, damn it. Yes. Oh, so much Isaacs. It's like there's this what is it? There was this saying that I saw on Tumblr that I used for something. It was like we look at each other a little too long for us to be just friends. And I'm like, that fits Dean and Cass in a nutshell. I I'll get back to you on that, Bridget, because I might have one. But um Final Draft has this really cool thing where it gives you an outline of the TV shows. And I think they have one for um Supernatural. I think. I know they have one for a lot of other shows, but I do think they have one for Supernatural. Um, but yeah, I'll get back to you on that because writing a TV episode, that is so difficult. Ooh, Swan Song is a good one. Voiceovers are actually so much easier than flashbacks. Um, yeah, if you're gonna do anything, do Yeah, I started my script writing with TV shows, and I managed to do two, two, two TV shows, two TV show scripts, and then like I started a couple others, but it's just like it's not easy because you have to actually like because certain TV shows have like five five acts. You got the teaser and then four acts. So it's like you have to fill up that time with all this, and it's 60 pages just about, but sometimes it can be less because basically a page is a minute. So that's, or at least that's how I was taught about it. Sorry, going on a rant about script writing. Yeah, it really is, but I'd rather enjoy it. It's just nailing down the plots. Yeah. For some reason, I find reading scripts so much more easier than reading like actual fan fiction. I don't know why, but yes, that is true. But I just know that most scripts are between like 50 and 60 pages, and then like a whole bunch gets cut out because of time. It's ridiculous. But I would definitely say look into see if Final Cut has the template for it because that definitely does help. You figure out like only 36 minutes. Um, no, I deleted it. Damn. Oh, sorry. I can actually look that up, and that would, if the finale was actually 36 minutes, that's just ridiculous. And they don't, oh, maybe they got rid of it. Um, well, the little download I have says that it's 41 minutes, so it's a little bit, so it's not 36 minutes, which is good, but still, could have done like commercial free or something, um, which would have been nice, but I'm trying to do two things at once. Don't mind me. Seriously, that's just ridiculous. I'm jealous of those people too. I would have loved to be able to go there, but also there was another thing about the finale that I had mentioned in my reaction video. It's like, why didn't the boys just call Jack? It's like Jack could have saved Dean. It's like that never made sense to me. It's like Winchester logic. Dying is easier than asking for help. Yeah, that's true. They used to have an angel on their side. Now they have God literally on their side. It's like, I know Jack said that he wanted to be hands off, but that meant hands off all of creation. I'm pretty sure if Sam and Dean, called Jack, he would have come. Oh God, yes. I mean, I think it would have been different if like Sam pulled Dean out off the rebar, but he was on the rebar, and technically they could have saved him if they called an ambulance. And they were on a farm where I'm sure Sam could have found something to cut the rebar and then gotten Dean to a hospital where they could have saved him. I'm sure. But no, they had to make this long, drawn out goodbye between Sam and Dean. Though I did like the pilot reference. I was a fan of that. I will admit that I did like the pilot reference where he's like, I can't do this alone. Yes, you can, but I don't want to. I did like that. That was fun. But No, they wouldn't have. Yeah. It's like, why did he have to, like, he really had to beg? And it's like, not to mention that, Dean got mad at Sam for doing what Dean said when he disappeared to purgatory, but now all of a sudden Dean's like, yeah, let me die and you can go live a happy life. It's like, I get so confused by this sometimes. I mean, the two of them have died so many times. It only makes sense. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. And it only makes sense after all. Sam was the last one to die, so it has to be Dean. Yeah, it's like, I guess in a hunter's line of work, you don't call an ambulance. What is an ambulance? What is that? I don't know. Who knows what an ambulance is anymore? Yeah, that would be hard to explain. Like, so you have a machete, your brother has a machete, both with blood and 4 or 5 headless people. How are we gonna explain that one? I think he just left. I think he just took the kids and left. Oh yeah, that's right. Maybe he came back for Dean after he got the kids. Well, I think it was an abandoned farmhouse, so no one would have seen that. Maybe. Yeah, you don't want to spook the kids, so you bring the kids home, and then you go and get Dean's body. Long gone after that 7-minute death scene. Okay, so then he just picks up Dean's body and then brings him home. I mean, stop ruining my story with your logic, people. And yeah, the Jenny, I didn't even recognize her. And the fun part is that this is the third time she's been on the show. Logic and reason go out the window when it comes to Supernatural. Apparently so. But yeah, I was actually, yeah, I was looking up the actress who plays Jenny. So she played Jenny in the first season. She played Jenny in the last season, and then she played one of the nurses or doctors in the Doctor Sexy skit. So I think she's the one that slaps Sam. Think, but I'm not 100% sure. But she's in the Doctor Sexy skit. And then she's Jenny in the first season and this and the last season. So you can always tell when they like actors. They bring them back. They're doing a Law and Order thing where they bring actors back. Because I know I'm making mention of that while I rewatch the series. So I'm like, okay, so this actor comes back. This actor is playing another character. We'll see this one again. I mean, because the young boy from Bugs ends up becoming Samadril or Samdril. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he ends up being the angel that Crowley ends up kidnapping. So, but so they just kind of reuse actors, and Law and Order is known for doing that. Or rather, Dick Wolf is known for doing that because, like, throughout all his series, you see the same actors. So it's kind of fun to see them play new roles, but it's also like, hey, don't weren't you playing someone beforehand? So, oh, it's just, but I've had fun chatting with you all tonight. This was great. Hopefully, maybe next time I can actually get like the Zoom portion working because that was weird. But so, unless anyone else has anything else they want to say in the chat, I think I'm going to call it a night and maybe, yes, very fun to vent again, Bridget. This is a no judgment zone. So, but so yeah. So maybe I'll do one of these again later on. I actually enjoy doing these. I never thought I would say that, but I do enjoy doing the live streams. So okay. So have a good night, everyone, and I will talk to you all again soon. All right. Bye.